Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Wednesday, the 4th day of January of the year 2023. It is Wednesday of the second week of Christmas. It is the 11th day, yes, 11th day of Christmas. So 11 peppers piping, if you've been keeping up with the 12 Days of Christmas song as we move through these days of Christmas. It is also the memorial of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. One of the, okay, so her claim to fame is she is the first saint of the United States to have been born in the United States. There are other saints who are first before her in the United States, but she is the first one to have been born in the United States to become a saint. She is the foundress of the Sisters of Charity, the American Order of the Sisters of Charity, because there are other Sisters of Charity. But her big claim to fame is that she is the patron saint of all Catholic elementary education. And so that is important to remember, especially for those of us at the Franciscan School. This is the day of one of our patron saints, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. She founded the first school for young women, for girls in Emmitsburg, Maryland, where she's buried. So Elizabeth, a little bit on Elizabeth Ann Seton. So coming to you this morning from in front of Old City Hall, here still in Toronto. Again, it's another very cold, not very cold day. It's a cold day. A little bit colder. It's going to rain because that's what it does. And it's kind of getting dark and gloomy even at almost 7:45 in the morning here in Toronto. But this beautiful Romanesque, I think they say, it is in the style of the Renaissance. Sorry, not Romanesque, Renaissance style. 1899 it was built and was in use until 1966. When, again, New City Hall, it was yesterday, was put into use as the government for the city of Toronto. Hopefully tomorrow we'll see some other things. I've got to get back to the conference, that's why I can't go very far today. But in today's readings for this Wednesday of the second week of Christmas, again, the first letter of John. And the thing that might strike us in the first letter of John, if you bother to look at it, is that John is really concerned with sin. It's all over the place. He constantly, in these selections that we're hearing, it's about sin this, sin that, you sin, he sins. Anybody who sins is a friend of God. Anybody who sins is doing righteous things. Anybody who sins is, evil, whatever, which is all true, I guess in one way. But John's focus on it kind of runs counter to all of the positivity that is the season of Advent, with Isaiah giving hope and promise, and Jeremiah giving hope and promise, and all these other readings about God doing wonderful things because God wants to be a part of our lives and wants to show us how to live. In John's time, when this letter is being written, there is, like I said before, unrest and a lot of difficulty and a lot of difference of opinion on who Jesus truly is, and people being led astray and fears of all kinds of wrong thinking and destroying the mission, etc. So John is very concerned with all of this, and so this whole kind of focus on sin. The thing about it, though, that is beautiful in these kinds of letters is the sense in which just do good things and you are a part of the life of God. Nothing more is really asked of us than to just try to do what is good. It is not kind of putting ourselves into dire situations of denying ourselves things or of suffering or whatever it is, that's showing that that we love God or things like that. It's just remembering at the heart of us that we are good. And what these letters are trying to do is to remind us who we are truly called to be. Not that it is impossible to do good or to be good, not that it is impossible to do what it is that God asks us to do, but that it is something within us, it is a part of us, and we just need to start living that way. And so in the constant focus on sin that John seems to be going with, there's a lot of encouragement to say, be who you are called to be who you are created to be, and see what it is that then God restores and opens for you in your lives. In the Gospel of John, that complements today's first reading, we hear John the Baptist, identifying who the Messiah is, and two of his followers, two of John the Baptist's followers, go off and follow him. So it's an interesting sort of calling in John's Gospel. It wasn't Jesus walking along the shore of the Sea of Galilee, although he probably was doing that, and just picking out people left and right. It is Andrew, who is one of the ones who is called. Sometimes we also think that it is Philip. The other apostle is not named, the one who was John's disciple. But Andrew is the one who follows him, and then Andrew is the one who goes to his brother Simon and says, "We have found the Messiah." So Andrew's claim to fame is always the one who introduces Jesus to Peter and Peter to Jesus. And the first thing that Jesus does is that he changes Simon's name and calls him Peter. No questions, no reason is given for that. It's not that you are the rock and upon this rock I will build my church. He just calls him Peter, Cephas, rock. And maybe that's because he had a rocky complexion, pockmarked, who knows what it was. But Jesus changes his name, and in doing so kind of lends a claim to Peter. And again, because what you name is connected to you. That's why when the man names the animals in the Garden of Eden in Genesis, that is the name the animals keep, because there is that kind of claim and connection that is made. So Jesus makes a connection with Peter that is unique. Even though Andrew was the one to meet him first and to know him first, it is Peter who begins to have this connection with Jesus that will then begin to evolve. Sometimes good things, sometimes in bad things, sometimes in joy, sometimes in challenge. But again, the sense in which Christ lays claim to us. His coming to be part of our life is to lay claim to us, that we belong to Christ always, that we belong to Christ always, that we are Christ's, and nothing can ever take that away. And that allows us to be given the courage and the hope to be the people who can do good and allow that good to help to transform the face of the earth. A continued blessed Christmas, St. Francis and people of God, and may the Lord give you his peace.